All right, and we're live. Welcome, everyone, to Finding Profitable Token Ideas with your host, On-Chain Wizard. Today will be a little bit different than the prior workshops, where instead we'll look at, how, we'll go through a little bit of a process of how I find ideas, but then we'll actually dig into the investment ideas rather than just using the platform. As always, if you have any questions, please drop them into the chat. So let's get started. So to me, you personally have to match the way you use the site with the kind of token idea you like to invest in. So that can be a mixture of the type of token, but also the time frame. If you're looking for purely degenerate, fast moving kind of ideas, obviously the place to do that would be the Alpha Streamer New Launch Pro. You can see, wallets like this that have a pretty good P&L. And you can see their movements. They're buying this meme coin right now for, almost 10 grand 4 minutes ago. So then you could dive into, this token. You could go onto the socials, see what people are talking about it, whatever. But usually for these types of tokens, speed is important. I think this one's already ran quite a bit. But so if you're looking for degen stuff, I would either hang out here in the New Launch Pro, which, if you're not familiar, takes the 100 best new launch traders and streams their activity just on new launches. So you can actually filter these by the token age when they were bought. And then the other place you can do this is on the home page, where you can filter our top 24-hour inflows, the 0 to 2 day column. And you can see, okay, gun bet. That's kind of interesting. I don't know much about that. Maybe I should go and research, or just ape, because there's been a lot of inflows over the last 24 hours. So especially on newer tokens like that, speed is your friend. And so we could look into one. Usually for me, if I'm going to ape something sight unseen very quickly, no research, I'll usually do something like that. I'll check what the flows look like, which are relatively bullish. People are still buying, it looks like, and it's a lot of our best traders, 128K P&L, 190K P&L. You could quickly, input the token into something like DEX Screener and get a sense for what the market cap is. Yeah, it's actually in a dip right now. Yeah, it's a 500K market cap. This is gun bet with 126K of liquidity. Kind of seems interesting. A lot of our best traders have been kind of forming a bottom on it between 4 and 5 cents, which is, if you pull up the DEX screener, it actually is kind of where the bottom is. So could be worth investigating. I don't know much about this one, so obviously you could go to socials and check this one out. I don't know, but usually I'll do that process on anything that looks like a fundamental style token in the kind of top 24-hour inflows, because especially if you can catch something that's not a meme coin, where it's a little bit harder to tell if it's ever going to run past 1 million or not. You can also just search the contract address on Twitter and see what people are actually saying about this thing. But anyway, so there we go. We have one idea. It looks pretty good from a flows perspective. In DEX Screener, the contract looks fine. The token sniffer looks fine. So could be worth looking into. I mean, over the last basically 20 hours, that's, quite a bit of buys and inflows from, one to basically two of our best traders with, pretty good hit rates, pretty high average ROIs. Something interesting is obviously going on there for them to ape. You can even go one step further, which I like to do. So this is the wallet that seems to be buying more. So let's keep looking into this. So we'll click on the wallet between these two very good traders. So obviously for his spot portfolio, he now holds 7K, which is 5-6% of his spot portfolio. He owns a lot of house. I wonder how he did on house. And this is the only thing he's really been interested in today, basically, it looks like. We can look at the DEX P&L. They're pretty good at, there's some fundamental projects in here. Like I know Theo is a fundamental project. They made money on Unibot. Pretty consistent profitability, honestly. So, they obviously know what they're doing. Like they made money on LBR. They trade a lot of stuff, but, if we look at the Explain P&L tab too, we can see, so typically this is their bread and butter, right? So ROI seems low. So that's the average ROI though, right? So it can be kind of skewed. Like if I buy 10 tokens and 9 of them I buy for 100 and they go to 0, and then I buy the other, the 10th one and it goes to $1 million for $100, it's going to take down 100% 9 times and then average it against my really high ROI on the other one. So it's not a perfect metric. Same thing with hit rate, right? Like if I ape $1,000 into 10 tokens, 9 of them go to 0 and the 10th one goes to $1 billion, my hit rate is 10%, but I crushed it. So we're trying to add in some stuff like slugging percentage to make that better. But anyway, the point I was trying to make is this person's bread and butter is kind of new launches. And we could tell by their activity that they don't buy right at launch. So they're more like almost like a gem spotter, if you want to really use that terminology, right? So in the 0 to 2 day year old token category, they've done 170K of realized P&L. They average more than a double, but obviously that takes into account all of the losses. But the win rate, of 38% could be decent. And obviously there's probably meme coins in there, right, which skews this all downward. But I don't know, it looks pretty interesting. We could see basically from this bottoming in the chart is our smart money at around 4 to 5 to 6 cents. So that looks pretty interesting to me. I mean, then we can even, research the, so from there you could obviously go and dive more into, what, they're building, because it's probably like just by the name, it's probably like a gambling type of token, which have obviously done pretty well so far this year. You tried copy trading this type of wallet, rugs eaten ETH so far. Yeah, so the thing you'll realize is these really active kind of wallets are really hard to copy trade, because they are getting chopped up on rugs. You'll pay a lot in ETH to even get into some of these tokens. Like if you try to copy someone that's launching, like always buying early. So you have to be real careful with the trying to just blindly copy trade these guys. Now we're setting up alerts where you'll basically get notified if, you can customize it however you want, but instead of just trying to blindly copy trade someone, you could use the power of our data to say, hey, send me an alert or just auto ape when 5 wallets like this, that are a top 6 month P&L, all ape into a token, then bring me along, right? Instead of just copying someone that trades a lot of stuff, is sometimes successful, but it's a little bit of a, they're kind of gambling. So let's look into quickly what GunBet is. So it's a crypto casino sports betting site with revenue sharing over 50 games. There's not really that many people following it. It looks like the game is live. The revenue share pool already has 55K in it. I don't know. It seems pretty interesting. It doesn't have very many followers, 684. And all the people, I'm just looking through the followers now. I mean, it looks pretty good. So I don't know. So there's idea one. We'll take it. So idea one, and I'll put these in the notes somewhere. But we'll just say, okay, idea one we found is GunBet because we saw an anomaly in the flows here, especially the near-term flows from the 2 wallets, this one being one of them. They have high P&L in the 0 to 2 day category. They have what looks like a real product. The contract doesn't look like a rug. They have a buy-sell tax, which is no big deal. So obviously you could size it smaller. But at 500K market cap, if this gets any usage, you could see it going to at least, like whatever. I think Coco last I looked is like 2-3 million. So your upside could be at least to 2 million. And then obviously if they crush it, it could go a lot higher. There's a question here. Alerts on Telegram would be awesome, like to stream their trades according to alert rules we set. Yes. Yeah. So that's the plan. So not only will you get the alerts, but you could set up bots within the site to just copy trade. Like you're not copy trading, right? You're basically getting alert on an anomaly of movement from smart money. So if like 10 wallets all buy something in aggregate to total 25 grand, make me ride along. But also you could just get Telegram alerts, and we'll have just the ability to one-click trade it within Telegram. So if you see the alert and says, hey, this is like an anomaly of smart money movement, maybe I should check it out, and then you could just one-click buy. So that's kind of where it's going. And so we're building all of this stuff right now. Like what you see today is just kind of like the MVP product. So it will get a lot better. Like we're just getting started. And if you're in the chainEDGE Discord, actually, I kind of laid out like the 12 things we're going to get added or improved into the site over the next 60 days, 30 days, hopefully. There's like a lot of cool stuff in there. So if you haven't seen that, you should check it out. But, things are going to be, like some of the key ones are going to be more stuff around like token retention and balances and average entry for all smart money across a certain token. We're going to add in like fresh wallet analysis in here too. So like an entirely separate flow of what are fresh wallets buying. Because obviously, with platforms like this, people, we can watch what they're doing. So people will fund fresh wallets and go and buy Unibot or something like that. And so they try to avoid us watching. So, I understand that chainEDGE filters out the best successful trades only. Oh, so we just do realized P&L. And I don't know if it's in there yet, but basically 9 times out of 10, these guys trade. I mean, a lot of the bigger ones do not hold anything to zero. Like if it starts just going down pretty quickly, they'll just blow out of it, even if they aped 1,000 and they get $50 back. So what we've seen is there's not really a lot of examples of where they buy only and then the token goes to zero. So it's not like our realized P&L gets muddied up because of that. So hopefully that answers your question, Ed. And I mean, I guess, so Ed's asking, if someone buys 10K of different tokens, makes 5x, and then they take 50K of tokens that go south and are not sold. And so, like I said, these are kind of on purpose pretty high activity traders, so they do not just hold into a position for, they won't buy a 50K position and just hold it to zero. And that's also why we focus on realized P&L, because then they have a proven ability showing you that they are making and realizing profit. So actually, if we did it on unrealized profit, we could actually run into kind of the issue that you're talking about. So anyway, GunBet. So GunBet is, we'll even put it into the chat. GunBet is idea number 1 at 0.045. Because that seems pretty interesting to me. Obviously, it could go to 0. There's no reason why. There's obviously all your standard risks, but I think it looks pretty good. Moving on. So another way you can use this is just, there's certain tokens where you maybe heard about it when it was popular 3 months ago, and now it's not as popular, or you just don't see that many people talking about it. And maybe you just need kind of that refresher on what people are excited about, or at least where you should focus some research efforts, especially on more fundamental projects. So one thing I like to do is just go to the swap summary page, go to no stables, and just look through any of these that kind of looks interesting. Like, to me, zero, Ox is run so much, like, I don't know if I even want to deal with that. But like Gains is kind of interesting, actually. So if I pull up Gains, hopefully you guys can see my Gains. I hope I'm not on deck screener. So GNS basically had no smart money buys for quite a bit of time now, like since May. And then all of a sudden we've started seeing a couple people aping back in, specifically this one trader that has 120K P&L. And see, this is an example of someone that actually doesn't trade very often. They have, over the last 6 months, 33 total trades. They put 55K to work into GNS at 520. So if we dive in a little bit further there, they have a portfolio of 321K. I can query their DEX P&L because I want to get a sense of what they are good at. What have they made money on? What kind of trader are they? Okay, so obviously more fundamental tokens, right? Their winners are Rollbit for 77K, LBR for 43K, Unibot for 16K, and then I think Unibot V1 for another 3K. And their their losses are actually when they try to go and play meme coins. Their biggest loss is on Pepe. So that's pretty interesting. So I think there's some sort of upcoming catalyst for this one. Someone was telling me about it, so I'd have to research it. But maybe that's what they're front running, some sort of potential catalyst. I know certain people in the chainEDGE Discord always talk about looking for anomalies like this where there's almost no smart money activity, and then all of a sudden you see a buy spike. And so this one kind of seems like a potential anomaly that's worth looking into, right? I mean, like the last meaningful smart money buy activity was, it's been a long time. I don't see any going back. So like, I don't know what the catalyst is, but I guess like what I'm trying to show is like this is how you can use it as in your research process, right? Because there's so many tokens, there's so much stuff going on. It's like, where is the highest ROI for me to both put my money but also just spend my time, right? Like perp dexes have kind of like fallen out of attention because it's like Telegram bot season and everyone's aping new launches and stuff. So if we try to look into GNS potential catalysts, I don't see anything yet, but obviously, we could research it a little bit further. I'm just glancing through Twitter now. Yeah, I don't see much, but obviously there's something going on here. The chart looks relatively bottomed. 482. You can actually see that's probably our guy doing the buy spike right there. Question here, promo code for those that watching the live stream. We don't have any promo code, sadly. I mean, the price today is cheaper than where it's going to be when we put out the next release. So there's your effective discount. But I don't know, this one could be interesting. Like, this guy's obviously a good trader. You're getting a signal of an anomaly on gains. So maybe we'll count it as idea number 2, GNS idea number 2. Needs more research. It's trading at 482. There's likely some potential catalyst there. Put it into the chat. And so again, I'm not just trying to like give out potential ideas, right? I'm showing you like the process at which you can arrive at like, the whole idea right behind the platform and what we're doing is to remove the noise of Twitter getting dumped on by other people. Like, these are the best traders, the highest realized P&L, right? Like, not unrealized P&L. We don't count someone smart for any other reason other than they are a consistent moneymaker, just like I showed with, this wallet, for example. And so a signal like what we see in gains means something's up, right? Because if we go to that wallet, I know we ran their DEX P&L query, but we can also look at what percentage of gains is in their portfolio to get a sense of like their conviction as well. So let's just take a quick look at that. We have a question. Can we get a list of wallets who's consistently acting in a particular narrative? Yes. So that's another thing that I forgot to mention in our kind of upcoming roadmap is basically we're tagging all of these tokens you see here into their, it's basically like a narrative god dashboard, right? So each token gets bucketed into what it actually is, either the category or narrative that it falls into. And then you can, once we have that, we can actually do P&L by narrative, but then we can also do flows by narrative. So then, and we can think of ways, and you can kind of, if you come into the Discord, you can like kind of ask how you want that to be streamed to you. But at least at a minimum, you can see flows like this, but at the narrative level, right? So, like, for example, the perp dex narrative, right? If it was in here, right? If this was the way it came through, like, it probably would look more like this, right? Like, negative, 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 because they've kind of been falling out of favor for more shiny things. And so if there's like a reversal in it, obviously that should get your attention. Our top performing wallets scraped automatically and added or manually researched. So it's 95% automatic, and then The last 5% is just me double checking to make sure that they're not a one hit wonder, or if they have just a ton of big losses, maybe I'll scrape them out too, but it's not manual in any way. Because there's just too many wallets for us to really do that. You know, there's 1,300 or so wallets in here right now, and obviously there's going to be a big wallet upgrade that should push. We'll probably push it tonight, where we're adding kind of a new round of the best traders and removing some of the stale wallets that are in here from, you know, guys that maybe were making money 10 months ago, but over the last 6 months, they've kind of been either inactive or losing money. So, but basically the entire process is pretty automatic. So we're always trying to cut losers out and also cut people that aren't trading very often. Any future plans for app performance improvement? Yes. I mean, they're, you know, like it was slow, I think, yesterday because they were pushing a upgrade. So it was under a little bit of maintenance. But, I mean, they're always most liquidity flow from press wallets in the last N days. Yeah, that one's going to be real easy to add. That's on the list. That's coming. So we already have the kind of data flow to do that. We just have to get it into the UI. So, and we'll also make it filterable, so you can even filter it kind of like the homepage for market cap and token age, right? So if you're looking for like a real, like all you're trying to do, right, is put yourself in a position to win. And so if you could filter like stealth money flows for tokens less than 2 days old, you know, that would be pretty cool, because then you could probably catch some, you know, potential insider movements. Or if you don't have filters on, you could catch like people trying to front run some sort of centralized exchange listing, what have you. You could even set up alerts on those. You could even set up, you know, bots to buy when there's an anomaly in those. So we have all that stuff. But Goran, I mean, the site works pretty well. You probably haven't been around since we launched the kind of private beta, 8 months ago, 6 months ago. But, you know, the site is continuously improved and it will only get better over time. But if you have specific things that you don't think are working very well, you should just flag them to me either on Twitter, or you can DM me on Twitter or tell me in the Discord and we'll look into it. Okay, so we have 2 ideas so far. Oh, so you're a dev. Yeah. It's a balancing act. But anyway, we'll keep moving forward. So we have 2 ideas. We have GunBet, which is kind of a degen idea, but we saw an anomaly. GNS, potential idea at 482. And we flagged that because we saw a wallet, this guy, let's see. Yeah, it's like almost 20% of his total portfolio. He holds a lot of Pepe too, which is interesting. He had pretty good realized P&L stats. And so, especially in a token that really hasn't been moving much and doesn't get as much attention as all of the kind of new and shiny tokens, this one, to me, seems like an anomaly. It needs more research. I know there's something going on there because I remember seeing something like yesterday about potential catalyst or some upgrade they're doing. I don't know. But, so that's our idea number 2. Let's look for some others. So, and I'm doing this live, so I have no, I did not prepare any of this in advance to kind of see what we come up with and see how they do. I don't see anything too interesting on the alpha stream. What if we filter the alpha stream maybe for like buys of 20K or more? I'll also pull up the swap summary too to see if there's anything. Yeah, most of these are your standards. This is Ox, the Bitcoin meme coin. Nothing really stands out to me there. Let's go in here. And again, you guys can ask any questions, whatever. We're just kind of, it's meant to be size for shit coining. It depends how early you are, honestly. And it also depends if the project is real or not. But usually, like you can't, like even if you are aping, if your trade size is 10% of the available like liquidity, usually you're going to push it around a little bit. So you can either just buy in like clips, but also if you, like the caveat is like, for example, if you're in the on-chain wizard Discord, like I think I flagged Saint right when it launched at like 50K market cap, and I think I got in at 100K market cap. If you see something like that where you can kind of see why it should go up a lot, between the guys behind it are kind of tight with Unibot. It was a almost like a stealth launch, right? They basically just dropped the token and said let's rock and roll. Then you should, like at least for me, like I kind of just ape to get the amount of size I want into it no matter what. Obviously you're not gonna, drop 20K into a 100K market cap token, but there, if you're buying a grand or two, you would have had a pretty good time. And that's what I did personally, and then paper handed it at 2. But I guess unless you're talking about, so that's kind of some thoughts around market cap and liquidity, but also on just like portfolio size. You always want to make sure you're not going all in on random shit coins, especially in today's market, because you can get chopped up pretty quickly. I mean, I have alerts on some of like our best wallets, and a lot of them have just been getting chopped up the last couple of days, just because there hasn't really been anything that's gotten a lot of attentions. When you exit the position, so there's kind of 2 ways. So selling is like art, you could use the site to see when smart money starts selling, because usually it's pretty good actually. So remember on like QWN, we saw people, I can pull it up. So I remember I saw this start coming through the site and I just couldn't act fast enough. I remember seeing people buying in here. I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these flows, like sub 10. And then by the time I got the contract address pasted into Uniswap, I'm ready to go. I start trying to hit buy, the price went to 30 and then 40, and my transactions are failing. And then by the time I got into it at like 80, it's already run so much. And then, it obviously got up to like 300 or something. But let me see if I can find an example. So usually, if something really takes off and gets that much attention, you'll see, like the sell started coming through kind of in the 150s, and then they got really heavy when it got up into the, you can see it here. Like when QWN got up to 250, it's like all just like a giant sell wall, right? And so you can wait to see what the smart money does if they think the token has, room to run, or if it's kind of over, or you just sell when, like I always, because I come from traditional finance, I always have like a benchmark. So when I bought Saint at 100K, and it went to 2 million, to me it was like, okay, espresso's 4 and they're they were dominant. So it was like 50% of the best one that was number 1 it kind of seemed like a safe place to just exit, which was obviously a mistake. That's like the other way I always think about it. But market caps can be a meme, and using that framework has cost me money too in the past. But in general, I always trade things pretty tight just because I am in the 2021 PTSD bucket, or I mean the 2022 PTSD bucket. So I get real nervous about holding some of these tokens in case the market starts to sour, because all of these on-chain tokens, if we have anything like a Luna, I mean, nothing like Luna is going to happen again, but I remember back in May of 2022, even the tokens with deep liquidity that weren't ETH or Bitcoin were down 80-90%. So yeah. But anyway, so it's a little bit more of art to know when to sell or when to buy back in, because like if you would have followed the flows on like QWN, for example, you would have had signals to say, okay, at 250 it's time to get out. And then they started buying back again. Like, let's see if we can find a buy wall. Yeah, right in here. Like, to me that looks like a buy wall, right? It's like between 60 and 120. It's like they started coming right back in. That was, almost a week ago. And now if you look today, it's kind of mixed. There's still kind of blocks of buy walls here and there. But just an example. Let's go back to the swap summary and see if we can find another good idea. And again, keep the questions coming. It's way more interactive and I think entertaining if I'm answering questions rather than just talking to myself. All right. So if we filter 7-day flows, no stables, let's see if there's any other. Like Gamma is kind of an outlier. Saint is still showing up. I think you always enter fixed amount, like 2% of account, or based by conviction. Definitely based on conviction. And also based on the market cap that I'm getting into. Like if you're betting, like if you just think of like the amount of money in the space and the amount of tension that goes to tokens, right? Like, recent examples are like Coco, right? Like basically everyone was talking about Coco. A lot of your crypto Twitter influencers had a Coco bag, and it still failed to top out past like a 6 million market cap near term. Could it go higher? Probably, especially with some of the revenue stats they're putting out. But I always keep that in mind. So if I'm buying at like 1 million market cap, that's basically the wall you have to climb. Like it has to be pretty good and get a lot of attention to even get to 5-6 million. I think like that's where aimbot potentially, I think that's where aimbot topped out too. Right, which was kind of a smart money favorite there for a little bit. Yeah, aimbot topped out right about at 7 million. So if you're buying at like 5 million, right, like you better have a good reason or a good thesis of why it's going to capture a significant amount of attention or make a lot of money. But if you're buying at 100K market cap, like, it's a lot easier to me to ape, half an ETH in there, because your odds of it getting to, 1 million isn't as crazy as $1 million token going to 7. With what market cap have you had the most success in the last couple of months? My personal style is trying to catch the anomalies that are going from like 15 to 100 plus, and that's what I did in 2021, where tokens could go from 50 to like $1 billion. So like my two best of the year were Pepe and Unibot, and that's just because they were just like ringing. They led the inflows every day for what seemed like months. I've had some recent success because I've been trying to get better at like actual new launch stuff, and so I had wins in Ember and Saint just because I saw them lighten up in here. But in general, the new launch space, it feels like it's kind of getting diluted because there's so many new launches every day. But yeah, that's where I typically try to trade. Like an example is Winter. That's the one I wanted to talk about. So there's a little bit of outflows today, which is whatever. But in general, and I think Winter's like I think it's a 6 million market cap. It's mostly been buy side pressure across the board. If we look at some of the traders, this trader's got $1 million realized P&L, which I would view as pretty good. If you actually look, they have a permanent bid on Winter, which is actually kind of interesting. So let's look into this one. So if you didn't know, you can actually take any address and paste it right into the token page's alpha stream, and you'll just get their activity there, which is nice. Yeah, so they sold a little bit here. Yeah, they've basically been buying back. It almost looks like they're swing trading a little bit, but I mean, they've put almost 20K to work in Winter at around 7 cents in the last day. If we go to that wallet and check out their DEX P&L, we can see if they're any good or worth following. And this is just like the process I like to do, and kind of why I built the site this way, which is like, okay, like most wallet watching is kind of garbage because you can't just quickly look into, okay, is this wallet good and what are they good at? Versus here, I know they're a moneymaker because their realized P&L is like $1 million, which is pretty good. They bought 20K of this token. Oh yeah, I do. I mean, this guy obviously has had quite a few big winners. 1.2 million on Pepe, 10K on Unibot, 45K on LBR. So they do a mixture of kind of meme coins like Refund or Harry Potter Obama, but then there's some fundamental ones in here too. Let's look into the Explain P&L tab. So obviously Winter's a little bit older of a token, so let's look at their P&L by chainEDGE. Yeah, usually they're good at new launches, but they've made some money in a little bit older tokens. Yeah, like 31 to 50 days. See, this is kind of like a tough signal because they definitely usually do new launches, so this is actually kind of an anomaly for them. I wonder where they bought their Unibot. Let's look at other flows for this token. We have a question here. So you recommend do the scans daily and catching like 1 good trades a week? Yeah, I mean, like, to me, you have to be really careful to not overtrade. Because especially if you start like dealing in shit coins, you'll see there's so many launched that people will ape and they just can't get momentum. They can't get enough attention to really get even past like 200K market cap. At least that's what I've seen in a lot of like the alerts I've seen in the last 3 days. So yeah, I'm much more quality over quantity. If you could find something good, which I think Winter could be pretty good, and just ape more into it, and then kind of chill rather than having to fight in the shitcoin land every single day, all day. I think it's just a lot easier. But obviously you can do both. And I've been trying to get better about the actual new launch and shitcoin trading, but it can be a little bit hard when there's so much just like PvP and competition going on. so there's another, this guy was actually a net seller. Here's another wallet that's been buying winter in the last couple of days. He's 390K of realized P&L. Yeah, I mean, so some people obviously just were swing trading this into, once the roll bit started going crazy, they kind of, were thinking, oh, winter's like a beta play on that. And that's why you see some of these flows, right? And then outflows, because they probably traded it pretty well. You can see inflows in here at like 2 cents and then out at around 5, 6. But to me, and sometimes you don't have to follow with sometimes you can just use the signal and say, okay, smart money is interested in winter. So, I think the market cap is pretty cheap. Let's look, 6 million, 4 million of liquidity. I saw on their Twitter, I think yesterday, they said they did something like 60 million of betting volume on their site so far. And then there's also there's like an Ox Degen Bets or something they're launching. So as fundamental projects go, you're getting it at a pretty good market cap, right? Like, if this was private and you had to do a seed deal for this, it would probably be like the FDV would not be 13. It'd probably be, with the stats they have, it'd be like double that. So I think this one could be good. And obviously the site is telling us that smart money is interested in it. Obviously it ran a lot on Rollbit Beta, which is right there, I believe. But I think that one's probably worth watching and watching the flows on. But if you think about, I wonder what Coco's at. Yeah, that's gotta be the one. Yeah, it's the same market cap as Coco, despite being around longer. And I think they're doing their own L3, kind of like DMT too. So if you picture winter as getting to something like DMT's valuation, which maybe isn't crazy, and I'd have to research the actual usage and stuff. That'd be like a 5-bagger. And obviously you could put real money into it because winter has real liquidity. So we'll go ahead. I think we'll count that as idea 3. Even though the smart money's not crazy on it right now, we'll just put that in here as idea 3 at 0.065. Okay. What other ideas do you guys want to research? See, and you could just do this all day long and kind of build a portfolio. What do you think about WageBot? I don't know. It kind of seems like the space in general, because it's actually kind of a commodity, right? Because, we saw how many projects spin up a Telegram trading bot. I've used all of them. I personally don't think any of them are as even really close to what Maestro can do. So it's kind of tough to say why Wagey should do well. I don't know if the usage stats on the kind of Dune dashboards are right for that one, but I just don't think it really gets that much usage either. They're rewriting their engine. Yeah, it's just you have to basically lifetime tax revenue. Yeah, they done 10 ETH in bot revenue. Yeah, they have 16 users a day. It's the chart obviously looks bottomed. I wonder what the flows look like. Yeah, usually, so when there's a meta, the Telegram bot one, finding Wagey early worked because they were like the number two and they got the beta. But now, you know, I mean, smart money hasn't been bullish on this. There's one buy a week ago, and other than that, there really hasn't been much. This guy definitely sold his position right here. Yeah, just not much in terms of smart money interest on that one. So I don't know. It's kind of tough because, like, if you think about the actual product, right? Like, everyone has one. You know, like, people are spinning them up left and right. It's like a space that's going to get increasingly more competitive, and so all the benefits will actually just flow to the best three. And you can probably just find out which three are the best three by watching Whale Hunters, Dex Trading Bot Wars, Dune page, which hopefully you guys can see that I'm on it. Because this will show you like the usage per day. And, you know, it's basically just Maestro and Unibot. I don't know why this one doesn't have Maestro in there. But I don't know. And I mean, nothing against them. I mean, the token did well for a while there. Like, I've used it, and I personally had kind of some problems with it. Like, I had a lot of transactions fail, and you know, I also had a really hard time like transferring tokens out of it. Generally, the experience I had with it wasn't amazing. So I never bought any because I used it basically right as it was blowing up, and I was like, I don't know, this doesn't seem that good. Especially, I think a lot of people that got interested in all these like secondary and you know, third tier Telegram trading bots have not really used Maestro, myself included, because once you use Maestro, you see how much better it is. You really cannot beat Maestro. I mean, we're building our own too, but it's going to be paired with our data, right? Like, are we ever going to be as good as Maestro? Probably not, but at least you have the smart money data, you know, at your fingertips that you can use to trade. Personally, between the flows and like the lack of usage, like, I don't know if wage is that interesting. Like, the meta in these kind of things now is like Saint and Esper. Because I know Saint keeps getting smart money inflows. I think that one is kind of the one that smart money thinks is going to win now. The Esper flows have been pretty bearish over the week, but over the last 30 days they've been pretty good. Let's just see how much. Let's see what our smart money is holding more of, just because we're on this tangent. Any other questions as I try to get this page to load? I mean, like, I'm not trying to like be negative on WageBot. It's just like, after being in this space now for almost 3 years, it's just, I'm naturally very cynical about most of these things because it's just so easy for someone to spin up a competitor, or they'll have better, you know, crypto Twitter influencer marketing. And so if it doesn't have like a ton of usage and it's not like an outlier, it's tough for me to get that excited about it. Smart Money's holding 92K of Espresso and 109K of Saint. Recommend a way to buy once we have a trading idea. So it depends if speed of execution is important. So we're building things within the site where if you're like on the alpha stream and you see, let me just load it up, and you see, oh, there's like 5 buys in a row of Espresso. This was before Espresso went crazy. You could just one-click buy right in our site, and then the back end of it is actually kind of similar to Maestro, and so it'll basically instead of having to like do all of these click throughs and set up all these rules, like we're trying to build like kind of a left curve way to act quickly on token ideas where you think speed is going to be important. And so you could just one click buy. I can't get the alpha stream to load. As soon as I said that. So for things like that, you can either do it right within our site here in the next 30 to 60 days. But if speed's not important, you can obviously just go route it through Uniswap or an aggregator. Like I've been using Maestro just for more like things I need to act quickly on when I'm not at my computer. Yeah, the app is a bit slow right now. I'm gonna yell at my developer after we get off this. But you know, like if you see like crypto's been popping up a lot, like you can actually just one click buy it right in here and it'll just boot up a little buy page. And it'll work like Maestro, so like you won't have to click approve, you won't have to connect your wallet. You can use it just for don't yell at the devs. No, don't worry, it's coming. But you know, so you could basically have like a hot money wallet in here where you could just say, oh my gosh, like I'm seeing all these flows on crypto, which is some meme thing that I think is done pretty well. You just one click buy, it'll boot up a buy, you just hit go and you'll have your tokens. And so it's like optimized for just speed. Like, you know, sometimes like when you see things in here or like a light bulb clicks, like all you really want to do is just get me in now. And then you can transfer it out and get it out of our system so that you have control over the wallet or whatever, so that we don't, you know, and that's what people do with Maestro and stuff too. But I think that will help, because I think a lot of times people will see like my QWN example, like it happened to me. Like I saw our flows, just like crazy amount of flows coming in. And by the time I acted, like the token was already like a 5 or 6x. And I was like, shit. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit, Ed. I don't know what kind of tokens you're trying to trade, but if you're trading like some of the stuff we talked about, like, I mean, most of our stuff we've talked about isn't even really new launches, so you could just go and just, you know, click it into Uniswap or Camelot and just go and buy it, because speed isn't as important. So how many trade ideas have we done? 3? What do you guys think of the ideas so far? I feel like Gunbet looks pretty good. GNS and Win are a little bit longer term holds, but at least I feel like Gunbet is kind of like, Gunbet fits into like the perfect meta right now. We've seen Winner going crazy, Rollbit's going crazy. I don't know. I feel like that one looks good. I wonder if it's gotten any flow since we started talking about it. Gunbet. I saw a Shrek token. It's interesting there hasn't been any buys in a bit though. Let's find one other newer token just for fun, and then we'll wrap it up because we're almost getting to an hour here. Any other questions? Comments? Concerns? Are you making money? Losing money? TSO, a lot of people bought that. That one didn't do very well. Break even. Bullet. I feel like this one did pretty well. Yeah, jeez. Oh, I guess it's not that crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Breaking even? Has chainEDGE helped you at all? I've had quite a few people pull out a couple winners using it, but at least personally, I've made a lot more, and it's helped me make more using this because I don't find things late like this whatever that bot thing, the gun bet thing is. ICE. I've been talking about this one for a long time. I wonder if this is like the actual ICE token. Nothing really. Yeah, it helped. That's good. You need to be a bit more patient on what, Goran? On. Oh, yeah. See, that's. I used to do that, and there are markets where that's really good, and you'll know it when you see it. That's how 2021 was. So being patient in like May of 2021 was such a mistake because things would go from 100K market cap to 100 million, like at least once a week. Sometimes it was every day. Like Cum Rocket and Ass Coin, like it was absolutely crazy. Versus today, not so much. And I mean, there's been a lot of examples of people trying to get tokens to really take off, and you know, even Unibot, right? Like Unibot has all the attention in the world, and last I checked, it's still, you know, only a 150 million market cap or something, which is like equal to Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Inu, 10. These streams are super helpful. Yeah, so we've done a lot of these, but they're more workshops. But my hope is everyone kind of understands how to use it now, so I don't need to like walk through like, oh, so this is how this works and this is how this works, etc. 193 in Unibot. So yeah, the goal now is like to just keep doing streams like this where I walk through. Like we're basically just gonna like find ideas, and then that's why I flagged all the ideas in here. So next time we talk, we'll talk about these ideas. I mean, these ideas aren't like recommendations or anything. It's just like I'm basically showing you like a real quick and dirty process in the matter of an hour of me finding token ideas, whether they're newer or older, and kind of like the actual process of how you could go and take our data and then go and monetize it. Right, because not all of it is just like, oh, I see smart money buying, I should buy. It's like, oh, actually, you know, like smart money attention is on Rollbit and Winner. Like, what else is going on in this meta? Like, what could I go and research? Is there some sort of catalyst I could go and check off chain? You know, it's kind of like trying to bring the whole process together, and obviously using us as the start. So let's just also quickly. So the last thing I'll do, this is like, we're building a whole page. I don't know if you guys have seen, but this thing is going to get basically this entirely own dashboard, which is more of a portfolio holding view, which is, I think, more important for basically tokens that are, once they get like 3 days old or longer, you know, you tend to start like following what's going on with the smart money holders. You can kind of look at the data in tandem. See, so outside of all these random ones, Unibot, I mean, like smart money likes the Unibot. $9.8 million of holdings across 30 of our guys. It's pretty high. Rollbit, this one has increased a lot over the last 2 weeks. So this was like 2 million like a week ago, and now it's 6, which is pretty crazy. Still a lot of people holding Pepe. Don't care. There's actually been a rotation. If you look, this is the last thing I'll talk about, and then we'll wrap it up. Customer alerts will help a lot. Yeah, so especially custom alerts where you can then just one click buy. Right, like to me, that's like where we can fit in and make you money. Because if you've ever used even other bots that like auto ape for you into new launches, if you actually see the amount of new launches that go down every single day and the hit rate of those being any good, you can see how you get chopped up really quickly. And I've seen this even from experience copy trading, because we have our own copy trading bots and we copy trade like our new launch bots. I mean, they will eat shit and lose money like 49 times in a row, and then the 50th one will be like a 6-figure win. Versus if you have just custom alerts that said, hey, 10 wallets bought gun bet at 3 cents. Like, would you like to buy? And you could just click yes. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. Like, it sounds stupid, right? Like it's almost too left curve, but the design of it and the process is actually pretty smart, because you're basically saying, like, customize me, an anomaly of smart money flows, right? You already know that the money is smart, right? They're consistent money makers. And then you can just one click buy it and have a good time. So at least the other day, yeah. So I saw a lot of this in the last couple of days, which is a rotation from Harry Potter back into Pepe. So it feels like that's actually another trade. I don't know if you can short Harry Potter, but that would be like trade. We'll even put it in here. Trade idea number 4, if possible, is pair trade long Pepe, short. Okay. Because there's, like, these are obviously like the meme people that care about this kind of thing. And there's just been a lot of it. But anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Unless anyone else has any final questions. As always, you can hit me up in the Discord if you have feature requests, comments, you want to report a bug, anything like that. You can hit me up there, or you can find me on Twitter or on Substack, wherever. But if there's nothing else, I'll wrap it up there. None of these ideas are investment advice. Don't get wrecked. And then when we do the next one, we'll go back and review some of these, because we'll kind of have like a running database or library of why we bought these. We put on these 4 ideas using chainEDGE data. Like, let's see how they do, assuming the market doesn't get wrecked. But okay, have a great weekend, everybody, and thank you for joining.